What's up, guys? Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about an investment strategy that we've used to accumulate rental properties with very little money down. Flipping got really popular in the time after the 2008 housing crash, and while I'm not saying there's a place for flipping, I have a better option. When you flip a house, you immediately give up a good amount of the profits to taxes and realtor fees. If you hold on to the house as a rental, you can make far more money in the long run. If you play your cards right, you'll get monthly cash flow, appreciation, plus you'll be paying down the mortgage with money from the tenant. But unless you have some rich uncle who's lending you money to do this, you probably need at least 20% down on each rental you buy. So if you don't have money coming out of your ears, how do you keep adding properties to your portfolio without the cash from flipping? This is where my favorite strategy comes in, BRRRR. No, this doesn't have anything to do with being cold. It's an acronym that stands for buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to break down this process for you. Let's start from the beginning. Step one is buy, and it's the most important step. If you don't buy right, the whole thing fails. The buy process for BRRRR is very similar to if you were going to flip a house. You have to buy a house that you can put money into and then have extra equity on top of the sale price once it's all done. So let's say I have $45,000 to work with. How can I stretch that as far as possible? Whatever we buy, we're going to have to put 20% down on it. So we'll need to split that $45,000 between down payment and our rehab budget. Make our goal to buy a $60,000 house with a $30,000 rehab budget. So that's a $12,000 down payment, 20% on $60,000, and about $3,000 in closing costs. That leaves us our $30,000 rehab budget. We need this house to be worth about $120,000 after the rehab. This part is important because on whatever scale you want to look at it, there has to be equity in the house after the flip. If you buy too high, you're stuck. If you don't know what you're doing, find a real estate agent that knows investing, knows the area, and can run good comps to tell you what it may be worth after the rehab. The good ones may be even able to give you a good idea of what a rehab might cost. So step two, rehab. We talked about this a little bit in the last step, but now we have a house that we need to rehab on a budget of $30,000. I did say buying was the most important, but this can be right up there. If we way overspend on the rehab, then we'll be in the same position as if we bought too high. So once again, work with your agent, talk about the most important places to make sure your house is worth what you need it to be once it's all done. And then, most importantly, do the rehab. It's important to keep things moving as efficiently as you can. Every day you spend on your rehab is a day that you're paying interest and not getting rent, so move it along. Step three, rent. So now that you have a newly remodeled house, you're ready to get this thing rented out and start getting some money coming in. If you bought and rehabbed right, then you should be able to get enough in rent to easily cover your mortgage payment, maintenance, etc. You will be cash flow positive, which means that you're not only getting enough money to pay for the house, but you're getting some profit. Side note, start stowing some of that money away for a rainy day. It might feel like you're making money hand over fist, but the next big expense can be right around the corner and you don't want to get caught with your pants down. If the HVAC goes out, you can't afford to let it stay out while you compile cash. It needs to be there ready to make the fix. Step 4, refinance. So now you have your first rental house bringing in money and doing great, but now all my cash is gone. How do I get the next one? You guessed it, refinance. When most homeowners do a refinance, it's basically just to get their payment lower. They don't take any cash out, they just extend the term, probably lower the rate, and lower their payment, which is awesome. But there's something called a cash-out refinance. Here's what that means. Most lenders are okay lending you money on a home as long as you owe them less than 75 to 80% of the value of the home, even if that's not what you paid for it. So our home from our example is now worth $120,000. 80% of that is $96,000. So assuming everything else is good in your finances, a new lender, or maybe the same one, would lend you $96,000. But hold on, we still owe the original lender $48,000. That's $60,000 minus the 20% we put down. So we, really the lender, take that $96,000 and pay back the old lender $48,000, leaving us $48,000. Some of you might not be great at math, but that's $3,000 than what we started with. Which brings us to the last step. Repeat. Go do it again. Easy as that. Obviously, it's not really just as easy as that. There are some gross simplifications here, like where the hell are we getting a $60,000 house? Well, again, it may not be 60, but do the same thing with a $120,000 house and a $60,000 budget, math works the same. Though that's still not the easiest to find. Finding good deals is a whole separate topic, but they're out there. People, including me, are doing it every day. Good market, bad market, high interest rates, low interest rates. You just got to get started.